All right, hit that like, everybody. Getting going. Come on now. Share the show. Let's do it.
Man, I'm tired of being right.
You using the whole fist, Doc?
Just the facts, man.
Hey, careful, man. There's a beverage here, huh?
Did IQs just drop sharply while I was away?
I'm funny how? I mean funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you? I make you laugh? What do you mean funny? Funny how? How am I funny?
Am I getting through to you? Over!
Gee, I wish we had one of them doomsday machines.
Hey, you want to make $14 the hard way?
Oh, God, that's all I need.
Well, stupid, are you ready?
Oh, hello there.
All right, we're up on all the channels, I think. I think we're up and running. Yes? Good to go. I like that. That's good stuff. Okay, well, 1 second. Let me grab one more thing. Okay, all right. Let's get going. Let's get going. I don't know why that won't give me my fade button back. It just happens. It's got to be a thing. I don't know what the deal is. Welcome to the show, everybody. It's Hal Sparks, Megaworldwide. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. Patreon.com/Hal Sparks, etc., etc., etc. Welcome. Glad to have you here. It's it's one of those days. I mean, obviously there's a myriad of things, but the biggest breaking news, of course, chat room is the drawing that heard round the world. The Donnie the Diddler, the diddling doodler. What do we call him? What will get me past the Twitch? I went back and forth. I got to say, I changed the title of the show a couple of times in the setup, because if I send it on Facebook, probably wouldn't be a problem. If I send it out on YouTube, probably wouldn't be a problem. If I put it out on Twitch, probably shut me down because of probably the word diddler, even though it's totally appropriate for this asshole. But the House Democrats released the drawing, ladies and gentlemen. There must be more to life than voiceover. There must be more to life than having everything. Down. Yes, there is. But I won't tell you what it is. And some people say I don't know. They say he doesn't know what it is. I don't say it not because I don't know what I'm saying, but because Trust me, it's a secret. It's a beautiful secret. Jeffrey, nor will I, since I also know what it is. We certainly have a lot of things in common. Jeffrey. I almost said Jeffrey as in Virginia, as in used to work for me and you stole her, you took her away. Yes, we do, come to think of it. Enigmas, and I think I'm using this word right, I might not, who knows. Never age, have you noticed that? Of course, I wrote this a long time ago before my nut really started to explode and my ankles looked like cantaloupes and there was a smell coming from parts of my skin that I just can't get rid of. And not to mention, you're wink dead, so I guess age doesn't matter if you... So, I kid, we both know you're alive, and set up until this all blows over. As a matter of fact, it was clear to me the last time I saw you, and I have the videos and the Polaroids to proving it. Yes. A pal, and I have to say this because I don't really have any friends. I just have pals. A pal is a wonderful thing. Happy birthday! And may every day be another wonderful 6-year-old. I almost said 14-year-old. You almost got me, but I stopped myself and I didn't say it. People hate it. You can ruin your political career if you say, I want to sleep with my daughter who's 13. But, somehow I went right by it. Yes, you did. And thank you for the drawing, master. Donald J. Scribbles. So that's the actual one. Yes, Peter Lorre as Jeffrey Epstein. So that's the drawing that does not exist. That's the actual one released today by the House Democrats. And I gotta say, the drawing is just as shitty as you might imagine, and ever so slightly flat-chested for something that Trump would do, so which makes it even fucking freakier. Because of considering who it was written to, like he didn't draw a picture of someone with big boobs. You know what I mean? Like he knows what Jeffrey likes. Yeah. It's also a Sharpie thing. This is the kind of women he thinks he deserves. He draws them as Sharpie. The women I've slept with, not great, but if you draw some parts on them, it's fine. So yeah, this is it. And I suppose this asshole owes the Wall Street Journal $10 billion. I mean, one thing, I think, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say, I think if you threaten a newspaper or something over a detail you say is false, and then they prove that it ain't, they should automatically get whatever you sued them for. Yeah, it was $10 billion, right? If you're going to say it doesn't exist and you never wrote it and it's not yours and all that kind of shit, and not only that they egregiously did this on purpose, that they falsified, they never saw it, they made it up. This was not a good faith, they weren't shown a forgery and then fell for it, right? You'd have to prove, that's why, by the way, that suit is dead in the water anyways, is that you'd have to prove they saw a forgery if you say it didn't happen, and you have to prove that they knew it was a forgery and went ahead anyways, which is just fucking stupid. And you know how I know it's stupid? You know how I know it's stupid besides the people involved? The reason I know it's stupid is because, basically because J.D. Vance met with Rupert Murdoch in the fucking woods to discuss his future. And the next day he was like, release the Epstein files. And then it was like, no, shut up, asshole. So, there it is. That's the thing. Came out today. Enigmas is an anagram for what? For the word gamines, which is from the French, which means young, means young waifs or children. Ew. Turned out on the streets by life's cruelties. Oh, God. Gamines, I suppose. Yes, and E. Jean Carroll won her appeal again, or beat his appeal, I would say. She didn't make an appeal. She already won. So that's kind of fun. And I look forward to, and I don't know, and CSL, I don't know if this is probably a tomorrow thing, but I imagine we will keep an eye out for the reaction, if there is any at all, from the people in the Trump protection racket, who have been like, okay, guys, come here, Charlie Kirk. Don't open your mouth. We're not ready for that part of the evening yet. Charlie, Glenn, Stu, everybody at the Blase except Liz Wheeler, get that bitch out of here. And everybody at Turning Points USA, Ben Shapiro, all you guys, come here. All you people who are, your job is to run interference for Trump. Here's your assignment. See this drawing? Tomorrow you have to all say it's fake. I know, you're looking at it and you're like, it looks real. And yes, it will turn out to be real, but that's none of your fucking business. You have to go out and pretend that this is bullshit. You have to go out there and all that authenticity you've been showing online, all that populist realism that you've been blathering out on everybody all this time to get credibility with MAGA and the America First crowd, all that. Remember that? Okay, you get to put that in a fucking chipper shredder tomorrow along with your balls. And tell everybody that this drawing is not Trump's, clearly. And we were going to give you guys a Trump doesn't draw storyline to run with, or put a quote out there that you can go with and that would give you some cover. We're not going to do that this time. Now you're on your own. You just have to look at it and make up your own bullshit. And why aren't you clapping? Why isn't everybody clapping? This is your game. There you go. Okay, everybody clap. Thank you. Yes. And don't forget your Kool-Aid shot on the way out the door. So this is, this is some gnarly shit. And it's, I gotta say, like you couldn't see this shit coming? Like you guys, they haven't learned yet? For real? Like the maggots have not figured out if he calls it a hoax, it's fucking real. And now, you know how there's this whole thing like in retrospect, knowing what I know now, I don't believe anything in the past, right? That whole idea of like, they must have lied to me about JFK because I don't trust the government and everything. Interestingly enough, you don't think that at one point in the very near future, it's going to come out that this drawing is fucking real, and of course he drew it, and of course he was a part of the Epstein thing, and there was no hoax, and he's all throughout it, and it's all real, and it's all verifiable. Do you think they're going to go back and go, hey, all the other shit he called a hoax is probably real too? Real bad. I'm excited. It's going to be a good time. Anyways, hit that like, share the show, etc., etc., etc. Now, in related news, if I may, and yes, and by the way, maggots, whenever you want to wake up, we got a song for you.
This is some bullshit.
Because it is.
We see through it.
How can I just say, like, all these motherfuckers that are like, I'm starting to realize, like, Joe Rogan and all these guys, like, man, they're good at this. Like, they're good at pulling the wool over people's eyes. Now, you know what? Maybe they're not. Can I just run that by? Maybe, just maybe, and this goes out to our dear friends in the news media who say Trump is a master manipulator or he's great with propaganda. Maybe, I'm going to run this by you. I'm going to lay it out there. I want you to embrace it for a second. If you reject it like a baboon's kidney, I get it. Put it over there, you know. But for the moment, just entertain the thought for a second that he's not that great at it. Maybe you fucking suck. Maybe you're a gullible asshole. Maybe you lined up to believe this bullshit. Maybe he's not actually very good at it, because the rest of us were like, I don't know what that sounds like bullshit to me about this motherfucker for decades. The rest of us, it wasn't work. Like, I would be with you if I was like, God damn, that was kind of a, like the way he was on The Apprentice and he just zipped out facts and figures and, and it, like he can quote large passages of his book or whatever. Like, if that had happened, right? And the rest of us were like, God damn, dude is a fucking machine. That's crazy. Like, I had no idea he was so full of shit. We knew. It was a joke. Jesus. Okay. There's an episode of fucking Criminal Intent. You guys know I love me some Vincent D'Onofrio, and Catherine Irby, and he's reading some piece of evidence. I gotta fucking find this episode. He's reading this thing and he goes, the guy's got a letter in here from Donald Trump, and he misspells corporation, or it was like he misspells opportunity. It was like whatever. He's reading the note in the files of from Donald Trump, and this is before he ran for office or any of that shit. So this isn't even political dunking. There's a scene in fucking Scrooged, where Bill Murray is in the it's Ghost of Christmas Future, puts him in the sewers in New York, and that's where he finds Marvin or whatever, the dead homeless guy, that he's like trying to wake up and he's frozen to death, right? And he gets really sad. He sees all the sad things that are coming, and he's like, Jesus Christ, where am I? Trump Tower? Like, he's been a fucking joke forever. And it like relatively early on, you knew he was skeevy at the very least. You knew he wasn't a Christian. Of course not. Don't be fucking stupid. And now you know he's a rapist because he's an unrepentant rapist. The motherfucker went in front of a group of religious fanatics this morning to talk about anti-Christian bias. Something I don't even think he knows what the fucking phrase means. And then he says this bullshit about domestic violence. And I played this morning when Tara was on, just so you could hear this shit. It's crazy. I don't know if you guys have heard this. Let's listen to this real quick.
Down 87. There's no crime. They said crime's down 87%. I said, no. It's more than 87%. Virtually nothing. And much lesser things that take place in the home they call crime. They'll do anything they can to find something. If a man has a little fight with the wife, they say this was a crime, see? So now I can't claim 100%. Okay.
What he's talking about there is that most simple assault happens in domestic violence situations. Whenever anybody talks about, simple assault is down or simple assault is up because of policing, it's all street crime. It's all fucking street crime. Because if somebody's going to beat their fucking wife, or a wife is going to beat her fucking husband, she doesn't give a shit if there's a National Guard member standing 2 blocks away. They're in their house. Yeah, the wife. Yeah, believe me, the language is all rife with misogyny and fucking terribleness. Yeah, absolutely. But that never goes away. Like, you have to do, like, anti-domestic violence PSAs and conversations and go into schools and have counselors working with kids who are victims of domestic violence so that you work your way up to the fucking parents, if you even can, to make a dent in those kind of numbers. And this motherfucker is like, well, they think there's all this crime because a wife and a husband they have a little fight. The only reason the cops are called is if somebody thinks somebody's gonna die. For real, a neighbor, one of the people in the argument, the fight, the abuse, a family member. Fucking hell. Hit that like, share the show if you would. Let people know we're here. I greatly appreciate it. And then, god damn. And I think, good Lord. God damn. I have to, I gotta say, one of the weirdest things about Shitter, when I bring up, one of these clips that's posted on there, is all the people asking Grok to explain what's going on. I'll show you. Look at this real quick. I'm gonna show you. Grok, what exactly does he mean by this? And then it's like explains exactly what's going on, which is he's suggesting minor domestic disputes like a little fight between spouses can be classified as crimes to skew numbers. Critics interpret this as downplaying domestic violence, while supporters see it as highlighting overreach in reporting. The full speech was at a recent event. And again, while supporters see it as highlighting overreach in reporting, nobody reports little fights. For real. Like, if there's not assault involved, that's not going to skew your numbers. As a matter of fact, domestic violence is underreported. Period. It's also, by the way, such a dangerous situation that domestic violence calls are the single most dangerous thing that cops experience on the regular. Is breaking up a couple and getting stabbed by the one being abused, or being, or a gun being whipped out, or, a killing in a standoff, or a murder-suicide, and being in the middle of it. Cops face more danger dealing with domestic abuse and domestic assault than any other circumstance, second only to traffic stops. That's the next one. Randos whipping out a gun and firing out the window or running them over. This is where cops get harmed the most. Yeah. So the idea that, like, it's not just that he's downplaying domestic violence, but it's also he's downplaying the fact that cops are in danger every fucking day they go to these calls. He's pissing on cops at the same time. It's a little fight between people. I don't know what the fucking big deal is. It's how most cops end up in body bags. Or with life-threatening injuries. Jesus, what a fucking loser. So, and then of course, as they come out with this stuff, here's this is curious as well. Let's get to this stuff real quick, because this is Liz Wheeler is one of the maggot influencers that was handed a binder full of bullshit to parade around to basically, chuck any credibility she had with her crowd, into a sausage press, and watch it, ground down to nothing. And this is the Trump versus Messi Epstein victims promise client list, because they've said they've got their own list and they're going to put it together with their lawyer.
The House Oversight Committee yesterday, it was actually Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna posted a...
Anna Paulina Luna is the thing to say when to make the Epstein stuff go away. Ha cha cha. Sorry. I'm fine.
A link, a URL on her X account.
Whiz dealer, don't call her that. That's so rude.
She said, here are some more Epstein files. I think it was 33,000 pages that was given to House Oversight by the Department of Justice were uploaded to a Google Drive.
Shall we? Let's all dive in. Let's see. Google Drive. Epstein files new. Something like that. Okay. Show more. Congress continued to push for more information. Let's see. Many of the Epstein files are just released. Oversight Committee releases Epstein files. Epstein-related documents can be found here. There it is. I don't switch. This is the production thing. Here they are. This is the so very exciting. DOJ Epstein files. Production 1, 2025, 08, 22. That's a folder. Let's open that folder. Images. Image 1. Ew. These are all, okay. Ghislaine, okay, so this is, you fuckers. You absolute pieces of shit. They loaded scanned images of her case, the documents around her case, individual scanned images instead of PDFs, so that every single one of them is where is it? Yeah. So that all of these are TIFF files. Motherfuckers. Hold on. Back up here. This is this business. Images. Yeah. Yeah. These assholes. Literally everything they can do to slow down the process. So you can't go through it as one document. Is that what they're trying to do? Unless, let's see. Well, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's go back to, that's images. Natives. Okay, these are the native 6. DOJ MP4. What? Oh, this is the inside of the house. Or something. File footage of them walking around. Again, just distracting bullshit. Yeah, and this is the shit, by the way, that they filmed but didn't take. Like, this is almost like rubbing it in people's fucking faces. They came in and they were able to film all this shit. And yeah, as they went through it, like this, again, it's so fucking nothing. Like, what are you gonna do? Sell the fucking house? And then even this, like, look at the creepy paintings. They're like, he's a fucking pedophile. What do you think it's gonna look like? What a fucking distraction. Right? How is this not, how did the Liz Wheelers of the world not just fucking embarrassed that, they released an hour of video. What is it? It's walkthrough video of the property where it has, you can see the pictures that he hung in frames on the wall, the books he had. Here's a weird painting of some woman, or a drawing of some woman's nails. Here's his toilet. There's a shredder. Like, what the fuck? Like, what kind of a douchebag? Fucking video cassettes, him in the pilot seat or Ghislaine flying. Again, the names of, like, shit, books on his fucking bookshelf. How about, here's a good idea. See that computer? How about whatever's on that fucking hard drive? That it doesn't have a naked child in it. How about that? This is fucking gross. This is so fucking lame. Let's go back up to this one. Here's a native what? What's this? Okay. Okay, this is the... hour by hour of the fucking jail cell footage, and the very last one has the extra minute with the fucking sketchy dude in it. Oh, that's the audio. Jesus Christ. I don't hear anything from it. So, hold on one second. Anyways, you guys get the point. Like, there's 33,000 already released shit, most of which, by the way, was in that binder she got, except for the plane tracking data for his plane when it was flying around the Bahamas or wherever it was parked while it was being tested or repaired. God damn, it's so fucking weak.
Sheet by sheet, not a searchable PDF, but one page at a time.
Oh, look at that. She's pissed just like I am. That's hilarious. That's fucking hilarious. Good for you, Liz. I mean, I can say that because I'm not a gullible asshole who thought they would be helpful. You somehow thought so. Listen to that. Like, right when okay.
Pages that was given to House oversight by the Department of Justice were uploaded to a Google Drive sheet by sheet, not a searchable PDF, but one page at a time, one page per file, was uploaded to Google Drive and was released for the public. Now, what's in those documents, that's what we're going to talk about right now, the biggest takeaways. But before we get to that, there was a press conference that was held this morning. This was held by Congressman Thomas Massie in the lead up, or kind of in the midst of his discharge petition that would bring to a vote on the floor of the House a piece of legislation.
I gotta say, discharge petition sounds like something Ronnie Jackson wrote about Trump's dribbly dick. I'm just saying. He needed he's fine, he'll be all right, but he had a discharge petition, and we're gonna need a cork. Very small cork.
That would force the Department of Justice to release the Epstein files, something President Trump is against, but Thomas Massie says is important. A lot of drama involved here. A press conference was held this morning by Thomas Massie. He brought with him victims of Jeffrey Epstein, women who claimed that they were sexually abused by Jeffrey Epstein. And a couple of these victims, a couple of these women made claims during this press conference that I want to address before we even get to the contents of the 33,000 pages of Epstein files that were released by the House Oversight Committee. To start with, there was a Epstein victim who said that the names of others who victimized women alongside of Jeffrey Epstein, the names are known. Essentially, there is a list because the names are known, but this list has been hidden from the public by lawmakers. Take a look.
But when I'm most excited...
Whoops.
He's not an Epstein victim.
No, that's the anti-vax guy, I think, that you guys were touting or whatever.
We'll bring up the correct video here in a second. This is the woman in the sunglasses.
The deep state stopping her from doing stuff. Like they knew that the minute she put a black man on camera on her channel, everybody would hang up. Everybody was watching, would go like, oh God, oh, I can't. It's bad enough we're talking about a Jew. He had a black guy on the screen. I'm out. They're doing anything to make people avoid this topic.
Who says that the names are known to the government and that it's lawmakers who have stood in the way of releasing these names to the public.
Changing my shower head made me 10 years younger.
Oh my God.
Water had been ruining my hair for ages. Dry, brittle, but shower envy.
Oh, I'm like, I don't remember this video having an ad. So, well, there you go.
Spence is going to bring up this video.
Is he? Is he though? Is he?
If you want to just, I think the link is right there.
It should be somewhere there. I mean, I'm just saying, Elgato, I'm not being paid by them, but I'm just saying Elgato Stream Decks are fantastic, and you can load your own shit and put it, you can call up your own clips, lady. That way you can time it to yourself, like I do with this, little play button I gave myself.
Click on the link on next.
Yeah, see, I can do that all by myself.
Yeah.
Isn't that nice?
We'll bring this up here in just a second.
Oh, yeah, we will. I'm waiting on it. I feel like you're being attacked by the derp state. I think Elon Musk is still doing Trump favors.
This press conference, by the way, was attended primarily by huge numbers of reporters and media. If you look at the photos of this press conference,
well, yeah. Not a lot of gawkers at the I was raped PR campaign beginning, or the push for openness. There aren't a lot of fans of just listening to victims. Shocking.
Enormous number of media figures were there covering this. More attendees from the media than the general public, but a lot of eyeballs were on this press conference. I was interested in it. I'm sure that you were interested in it as well, because of things that were said by Epstein victims, such as this woman. If we have this, we can play it. There you go.
And let me announce now, several of us Epstein survivors have been discussing creating our own list of names. We know the names.
Also, I'd recommend a longitude and latitude number with each one.
Many of us were abused by them. Now, together as survivors, we will confidentially compile the names we all know were regularly in the Epstein world. and it will be done by survivors and for survivors. No one else is involved. Stay tuned for more details on that. Because history is watching, and so are the women who will come after us. Thank you.
Now, this press conference was
Sorry, every time she clicks to just her face on the screen, I keep just hearing, "Let it go, let it go."
highly viewed. A lot of people in the United
Seriously, you're like, it's like if you rolled into Disneyland and you're like, "That's what the princesses look like now." God damn, this place has gone to hell.
States,
She just looks so mean.
and the government, civilians, regular Americans like you and me watched this press conference. We wanted to hear what was said. We wanted to hear if there was new information that was released, and if so, what it was. But my question following this press conference is, if you have a list of the names of people who were associated with Epstein, who committed crimes similar to the crimes that Epstein committed, sexual crimes against underage girls, why aren't you releasing those names?
Because Alan Dershowitz sued Virginia Giuffre, and they don't have access to the information that the government has that will back them up if they are sued by the people that they are talking about. And Donald Trump probably expunged a lot of that evidence when they arrested Jeffrey Epstein the first time. So they don't even know until they get that, until the files are released, they don't know what evidence still remains that they could fight these people with in court. So they could be sued into oblivion even if they're telling the truth. That's why, dumbass.
Today, why stand up at the podium after all this time and claim that you have this information?
They don't claim they have the information. They're talking about the men that objectively attacked them, raped them. They know who they are because they share those names and those acts of violence in common. They didn't find them in a fucking book at his house. But the women who have come forward in the past, namely, Katie's deposition and, of course, Virginia Giuffre's stuff, they get either sued or threatened. That's why.
And yet don't disclose this information. It doesn't make sense to me.
Well, that's because luckily you're not a victim.
Maybe there's a reason why that I haven't thought of. Maybe there's a process in place. Maybe there are legal implications of accusing someone.
Yeah, you're getting there.
If you don't have evidence, but why don't they stand up and say, this is the name of the person, I was coerced into having sex with him?
Because they can't prove it. Because that's what Virginia Giuffre said about Dershowitz, and he threatened to sue her into oblivion because she didn't have any evidence other than her experience. It was her word against his. And not only was it her word against his, but he was the president's fucking lawyer. Dumbass. God damn.
That was sexual abuse. This is a crime.
Right, and they have no evidence of it, and it happened a long time ago, so it's outside of the statute of limitations, and they're afraid they'll be fucking killed. 4 of the victims are dead.
If that exists, release it publicly. We don't want more white binders. We don't want more promises of information. We want the information.
Sorry, the victims don't owe you shit. Would it be better if it was a world where they could come forward and feel completely safe and be able to tell the truth and stuff? Absolutely. And I wish it was that kind of world, but it ain't right now. And the only people that owe you this shit are the people who promised you this information to get your vote to get into office and who are hiding it from you right fucking now. So don't lay this at the feet of the fucking victims, you dizzy fuck.
This was also the case with the 33,000 pages of Epstein files that were released by House Oversight. The 33,000 pages were given to House Oversight by the Department of Justice, so by Pam Bondi's people. And what...
Oh, the delay when she's like, by Pam Bondi's people, which a year ago her brain had told her she would be going, and Pam Bondi nailed it, and it's so happening, and we're getting everything we want, and Pam Bondi, awesome, and her brain is going, but by Pam Bondi's people, who are the villain in this story? How did this happen? Oh my God, I might be as dumb as everyone always said.
It's in the 33,000 pages. Well, 97% of it is old news. 97% of it is files that have been previously released. The 3%.
Yeah, we know, asshole. And you helped. You helped run that cover story. You showed up and went like, look what I got. Hold on. I gotta, one second. First of all, I gotta do this because this is weird. I don't know why I got signed out of that shit. But then, let's see. Wheeler, binder, Oval Office, something like that. That'll be a picture of this. Yeah, here you go. Bunch of fucking douchebags. By the way, that's the long-haired gay gentleman who worked on getting the Amish vote all over Pennsylvania for Trump. Remember that? That's him. Is that DC Drano or one of these other like anonymous rich pricks who pretends to be a man of the people behind some dipshitty cat turd type name? And there's good old Liz. Look at her doing perfect product placement with her Make America Great Again white hat and a black hat and a red hat. They didn't just get binders, people. They got merch. They got a meet and greet. And again, I don't know why this isn't stressed enough, but these motherfuckers didn't walk out of the DOJ. They didn't go meet at Pam Bondi's office. Pam Bondi did not hand these binders to them at her office where the investigation is centered. They did it at the Oval Office. They all went into Trump's office and got this bullshit, which means this is not about Pam Bondi handing them a raft of shit. This is about Trump handing them a raft of shit. That needs to be clear. When anybody talks about this binder thing, that Trump gave them these things in the Oval, along with a bunch of sucker swag. CSL, absolutely. Like, here you go, dipshit. Pay for your fucking soul with dippy hats. God damn. Fuck you, lady. Oh, hold on. This is, I don't know why this has to start from the beginning.
The House Oversight
played this to here.
Thought of maybe there's a process in place. Maybe there are legal implications of accusing someone.
Yeah, we saw this part. Sorry.
If that exists, release it publicly.
Okay,
38 is files that have been previously released. Mm-hmm. The 3% of files that are new are flight logs that are highly redacted. This is not.
Oh, and by the way, highly redacted should just directly translate to mean contains Trump. The stuff that's been released has got, a bunch of black magic marker over everywhere Trump is mentioned.
This is not a revelation. This too might as well have been put in a white binder. Now, the reason that House Oversight released these files is because of what Congressman Thomas Massie is doing. You can agree with him or you can disagree with him, but I will.
No, you can't. No. You, Miss Little Binder, Miss John Bullshit Ramsey, if she'd lived, you don't get to disagree with him. He's pushing for the full release of the files. That's what you ran on. That's what you thought you were getting at the White House, according to you. That's what you've been selling to your viewers this entire time. You have been on this tip for fucking years. No, you don't get a choice in this. Other people maybe. You don't. Liz Wheeler, you have to side with Thomas Massie. And anybody who's like, we want to hold back some of this, fuck you.
And I know President Trump strongly disagrees with Thomas Massie, and he's even told the president has told Republicans that if you go along with Thomas Massie, you are committing an act of disloyalty to the president.
No, not disloyalty. That's too soft. He said a hostile act, which in this White House borderline means he thinks he can shoot you on Fifth Avenue or send the fucking National Guard to your house. A hostile act against the sitting president of the United States? Not disloyalty to him. A hostile act towards the administration is the exact quote.
Putting that aside for a second, we'll talk about that in a moment. What Congressman Massey is doing, theoretically, is something that I've been calling for Congress to do for a long time, and that
right, which is why you can't disagree with him, dipshit.
Is get members of Congress on record about everything. Because if you think that members of Congress who are supposed to represent us are not in alignment with how based we are, what we want them to do, it's because they face no accountability for not doing what.
Sorry, fuck you. They. I didn't realize Trump used they, them pronouns. I thought that was some woke DEI shit you guys didn't fly with. They, Trump. Trump is directing all of this. Fish rots from the head. It's, you have to be really clear about this. The only people that aren't releasing shit is because they are protecting Trump, and not because they're doing it organically, but because he has threatened them. If he's telling members of the House that it's a hostile act to ask for the full release of the files, what the fuck do you think he's saying to Pam Bondi and Kash Patel and Bongholio? Now, I am not excusing them, because fuck them. That's a hard job. You took it. You do it.
What we want them to do. And one of the ways that they avoid that accountability is they never go on record. They never actually take the hard position. They never actually have to cast a vote on the things that would make their base, their constituents, their donors angry. And what Thomas Massey's doing is what actually should be done on almost every issue, and that is make these members of Congress go on record. So what's going to happen if this discharge petition is actually...
Oh, yeah. Sorry, dummy. No, that's not how it works. Right now, the Republicans control Congress not for the power that it gives them to control the purse strings or to actually drive, through leadership and towards, an ideology or a plan that they have, whether it's Project 2025 or some Christian conservative family values thing that some of them still believe. It has nothing to do with that. The entire purpose of their power over the House is to hand that to Trump and put their fingers in their ears and wait for the explosion.
If it actually succeeds, if it results in a piece of legislation brought to the floor of the House of Representatives, and that piece of legislation forces members of Congress to vote on whether the Epstein files should be released, this puts members of Congress in a very interesting position.
Oh, no. It does not. It doesn't put members of Congress in a very interesting position. All the Democrats are for the discharge petition. All of them. Every Democrat has signed on to this. Directly, not as if they haven't co-signed it, they've already agreed to vote for it when it comes up. All of them. Every single one. We just flip 2 seats. Those Democrats, once they're sworn in, will add to the number. They will also sign on to this. They already have said so. Not members of Congress. Fuck off with that nonsense. Republicans solely amongst themselves have a problem. They have control of the House, and only 4 of them want the Epstein files released. 4. And of that 4, only 1 of them is a dude.
They can either listen to their constituents. We obviously want the Epstein files to be released, or...
No, I don't think you do. I also call bullshit on that. I don't think so. I don't think you want them released. I think you want what you have in your head released. You have this fantasy that it's going to be Bill Clinton and Bill Gates and fucking spirit cooking adrenochrome Hillary Clinton or something in there, and it will all tie back to them. you don't want the files released because you want everything except the Trump shit. And I will include, I will add her to this pile. She wants everything except the stuff with Trump in it put out. She would be completely fine if every interaction that he had with Epstein was completely expunged. Everybody else should be in there. Any mention of Trump, she's fine with the redaction. I guarantee it. Even though he's been accused of raping a 13-year-old and a 14-year-old, even though he clearly shared women with Jeffrey Epstein, many of whom had been groomed since they were 14, 15 years old by Jeffrey Epstein, and Trump may have only fucked them when they turned 18 or 17 in the state of Florida or some shit like that, but it wasn't because they were willing participants in this. It's because they'd been abused and turned out by this fucking monster to make them susceptible to this. And there was all kinds of threats and cajoling going on in the background, whether they were foreign and he had their passports, or whether he had compromising material on them and like, you're going to go fuck that disgusting orange baboon, or I'm going to show this to your family. That you want the stuff released. Shut up.
They can vote no, and it then looks like they are trying to hide the Epstein files.
I got news for you. They are trying to hide the Epstein files. It doesn't have to look like anything. That's what they're doing. That's what they've been doing. They're doing that right now. Whether before this vote, if it happens, after this vote, when it happens. That's what this is. That's not having this vote immediately, not releasing all this shit immediately, is them trying to hide this shit. Now, why would they do that? If it's full of Democrats, who gives a fuck? If it's full of like billionaires that fund, elections, it's on both sides, who gives a fuck? It'll be like a zero-sum game. They'll have wiped out money on both sides. But if it has stuff in it that makes Trump look like Denny Hastert on steroids, that's a problem. Yeah, Katie Johnson is who I was referring to, yeah. She was 13, 14 years old when he raped her, according to her affidavit and her deposition. She doesn't want this information.
Now, again, that's sort of setting aside President Trump's interaction with Congress and telling Republican members of Congress don't vote for this.
No, you can't. Oh my fucking God. Fuck you, lady. You can't set it aside. You cannot set it aside. You can't go, that part. He threatened members of Congress to lose their entire political careers and God knows what else. I mean, he could literally be threatening them with violence the way he talks over this shit. So no, you can't put it aside. It is central to this whole fucking thing. There's no one else in government, past or present, that has had more of a relationship with Jeffrey Epstein than Donald Trump, including Bill Clinton, including the donor class that he hung out with.
I'm a Republican member of Congress. I vote for this.
Uh-huh. Okay. Cool story, ma'am. What, do you vote for it after you see what's in it? After you've seen some of it? After you've had those behind closed doors look at the evidence? After Pam Bondi shows up at your office and goes, I got to tell you, it looks bad for the president if you get this stuff out, but this looks really bad for you if, considering, I don't know if you know where some of your donor money came from, but it came from this person. I love how everybody's like, the CIA is behind, the CIA is running everything. The CIA is setting everyone up. Like, motherfucker, it's Trump and Bondi. They're directly threatening people. They're on the fucking phone. There's nobody from the CIA showing up in a fucking trench coat in an alleyway going, you better watch what files you release, and then disappearing in a puff of fucking smoke. Trump is calling them directly and going, don't you fucking dare.
You don't vote no on this. You can like the president, you can support the president, you can respect the president. You know I do.
Well, and that sums her entire experience up. After it comes out, after it all comes out, you won't. I've said this several times, and it bears repeating. And everybody needs to hammer this as hard as they can anytime this conversation comes up. No matter what damage hiding the Epstein files does to his relationship with his base, with MAGA, with Congress, with his donors, with his friends, to his fucking marriage. No matter what damage it does, not releasing the files, releasing them is worse. As fucked up as all this is, as rage-filled and disappointed and like as Vinny as everybody gets, veins in their fucking foreheads. Where's the files? Why are we being cheated? This is bullshit. I'm not voting next year. He's not running in 2028, you dumb motherfuckers. He's bagging out. He's gonna move to a fucking one of those palm tree islands in Saudi Arabia and play golf for the rest of his life. He's not worried about you anymore. He doesn't give a fuck about you anymore. But what he does know is whatever people do about him, if somebody takes another shot at him, if all of the MAGA decides fuck Donald Trump and they show up and are screaming at him, whatever that is, no matter how bad it is, the files are worse. Do you understand that? Think of the damage that is being done hiding these files. And the only reason to hold them back is that the truth is worse. Now, if I may, what's going on in the chat room about TYT? They got Marjorie Taylor Greene on today. Fucking hell. There is no bottom, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, and let's see. Justice. Oh dear. Okay, and then this. Yeah, I have to say though, the Streisand effect is real. There's people are already comparing his signature, which, by the way, I got like the people going, that's not even a signature, it's fucking fake. When he signs personal letters, he puts Donald instead of Donald J. Trump and does his fucking jaggedy fucked up thing, right? The idea that if you're saying the deep state made it up, your argument is not the signature doesn't even look like his. Your argument is they copied it directly. That's a forgery. And you go for it's like the greatest forgery ever. Of course they would have the best forgeries or whatever the fuck, right? Let's see. What's this one? Oh. Jeffrey showing early talents with money and women sells fully depreciated girl to Donald Trump for $22,500. Showed early people skills too. Even though I handled the deal, I didn't get any of the money or the girl. What the fuck is that? Hold on. Yikes. Scroll it. Okay, this is Wall Street. Okay, this is the Wall Street Journal with a giant novelty check implying Trump sold him a woman for $22,000. The Epstein estate also turned over another letter from the book that references Trump. It came from businessman and longtime Mar-a-Lago member Joel Pashkow, who made a crude joke about a woman that Trump and Epstein socialized with in the 90s, according to people familiar with the matter. The Pashkow letter included a photo of a poster board-sized check for $22,500, which had been mocked up to appear that it was sent from Trump to Epstein. Beneath it, a handwritten caption said, Jeffrey showing early talents with money and plus women sells fully depreciated girl's name to Donald Trump for $22,500. The woman's name is redacted in the image. Pashkow and his attorney didn't respond to requests for comment. A lawyer for the woman said she doesn't know Pashkow and has no knowledge of the letter naming her, which the lawyer called a disgusting and deeply disturbing hoax. Trump was listed under the Friends section in the book's table of contents, along with Clinton and about 20 other associates. The journal reported Trump and Epstein socialized in the 90s, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And that's this, or whatever. This guy put, that was that guy's joke that was in the book. This guy, yeah. So there's Trump paying to Jeffrey Epstein $22,500 for this girl. Is that Epstein right there, or is that a guy dressed like him? But the girl in the photo has said that's not her, or that it didn't happen, or whatever. That she doesn't remember that conversation. Okay, hold on. Fuck, that's gross. The guy, hey, Liz Wheeler, that's the guy that's gonna, save all the children from human trafficking. The guy where there's like fucking jokes in this thing about how Trump sold people. And then, of course, well, let's, I want to do this. Like, the audio on this is so jerky. Johnson, Trump, FBI informant. So, this is, I wish the audio was louder on this. Okay. This is a little louder, I think, than the other ones I've seen.
What do you mean by that? What I was referring to in that long conversation was what the victim's attorney said. More than a decade ago, President Trump kicked Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago. And he was one of the only people, one of the only prominent people, as everyone has reported, not President Trump, but everybody about him, that he was willing to help law enforcement go after this guy who was a disgusting child abuser, sex trafficker, all the allegations. That's what they heard. So the president was helpful in that. I don't know if I use the right terminology, but that's common knowledge, and everybody knows that. So.
Okay. It's common knowledge, and everybody knows that. Okay, first of all, no, it isn't. It's not common knowledge. He didn't help law enforcement. The victim's attorney wanted to depose him. Trump voluntarily spoke to this guy so that he wouldn't be under oath. He's like, call me anytime, I'll tell you whatever you want to know, but he wouldn't go on the record. He meant, don't depose me, I'll just talk to you, because he didn't have to be under oath, and they didn't film it. For fuck's sake. So, and then this, I didn't know the terminology. This is what he was talking about.
Did as a hoax. It's a terrible, unspeakable evil. He believes that himself. When he first heard the rumor, he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago.
When he first heard the rumor, he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. That's a lie. Not only is it a lie, even based on the past stories, of he kicked him out because he was hitting on somebody there, but Trump has buried that one like he was poaching employees. It wasn't even that he gave a shit that he was fucking them. He just did. He was like, I was looking at her. Like, I had her around to do inappropriate things for her age. And then he took her. Like, it wasn't that he found out he was a fucking creep. He was busy creeping on these girls, and Trump was mad that Epstein was taking the ones that looked like Ivanka. That's what that is. Bullshit. He didn't kick him out for being a creep as soon as he heard the rumor. Good Lord. Sorry, you're friends with Jeffrey Epstein from 1986, and there's no rumors during that entire time. You guys are partying all the fucking time. He's got underage girls on your fucking plane. Shut the fuck up.
FBI informant to try to take the...
Okay, and I have to back this up. He was an FBI informant.
Evil. He believes that himself. When he first heard the rumor, he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. He was an FBI informant to try...
He was an FBI informant. No, he was not. He wasn't even an informant for the police. He gave information to the lawyer so that he wouldn't be deposed. That's it. And if anything comes out, if there are phone records of any of this shit, what you're going to find out is that after Trump tried to buy that property that he was jockeying with Epstein, they were both fighting over this piece of property that was eventually bought by that Russian oligarch who bulldozed the fucking place and sold it, paid, Trump like I think Trump paid $41 million for it, and the guy paid him $90 million and then just knocked it down because it was just about money laundering and feeding Trump money because they didn't give a shit. It was Putin money through this guy. After that happened, Epstein is going, wait a minute, Trump's broke. Where the fuck did he get $41 million? And so Epstein, the irony of ironies, started looking into the legality of Trump's money and started questioning whether he had gotten it through ill-gotten means. Right? And so Trump gets wind of this, that Epstein's sniffing around his finances and dry snitches on him. Calls the authorities. My name's John Barron, and that Epstein cat, he's doing some funky stuff. And then, because he knows there's evidence of him hanging out with Epstein, he knows Epstein blackmails people, he's aware of that there's cameras in the bedrooms and all that kind of stuff. He calls Jeffrey Epstein and goes, Jeff, I know we've had some problems, but the cops are onto you. You might want to start burning videos. How did Mike walk it back on camera via tweet? They did an official statement, and then he came out and did that first video that I just showed you, this one right here. He's like, I know what you're going to want to talk to me about. That's what he's talking about.
What do you mean by that?
What I was referring to in that long conversation.
Where sometimes when you're talking a lot, like words get out, like, I don't know, you just kind of, you're rolling around and people are discussing what kind of dogs they have, and then you just bring up the subject of peanut butter on your balls and you're like, what did I even say? It's one of those moments where you accidentally out yourself as being completely skeevy and full of shit. That's like, it was a long conversation. It wasn't long. It was a fucking 5-minute run of words in about 30 seconds. Like, he sounded like an ad for Adderall.
Was what the victim's attorney said.
No, the victim's attorneys did not say that Trump was an informant for the police. The victim's attorney said I called him up. I was going to depose him. He said, I'll talk to you anytime you want to get out of being deposed. And let's be really clear. Trump, who was a running buddy of Epstein's, who knew everything about his inner workings, gave him a free, by all measures, membership to his club, where allegedly he was poaching children to fuck from his properties. Never ended up being video deposed about the crimes committed at that guy's house or on his own property. For real? That's what you're going with. That there was that the attorneys for the victims or the prosecutor never deposed Donald Trump, businessman, before he was running for office about this shit? You're kidding, right?
More than a decade ago, President Trump kicked Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago.
No, he didn't. His membership was still good for 2 years after that, after he'd been arrested.
And
he came there after when he was on work release.
One of the only prominent people, as everyone has reported, not President Trump, but everybody about him, that he was willing to help law enforcement go after this guy who was a disgusting child abuser, sex trafficker, all the allegations. That's what they heard. So the president was helpful in that. I don't know if I used the right terminology, but
I don't know if I used the right terminology. FBI informant, helpful. Yeah, one would be that if you're an FBI informant, you have to tell them the truth or whatever evidence they have against you that they're not using to put you in jail because you're giving them information about someone who's more violent or terrible. If you lie to them, you could go to jail and they will just go, fuck this, and you'll stop being an informant and be prisoner 7159725, right? So yeah, it does. It's not or whatever.
That's common knowledge and everybody knows that. So
bullshit. What's common is that everyone knows this is nonsense. Yeah. Excellent point.
This is some bullshit. We see through it. This is some
bullshit. So, fuck right off Mike Johnson and your cheesy, weak fucking lie. Oh, thanks. Yeah, this is, I got this like a few weeks ago, or about a couple months ago, actually now. I think it was a Father's Day gift, actually, which is very appropriate, knowing my family and everybody around me. Now, where's this? Hold on. Let's see, 1 second. Yeah. There is, okay, there's a ton of this footage of playing all over of him selling this bullshit story that he knew the whole time. He knew the whole time. He knew the whole time. Meanwhile, let's go to, I want to show you something too. And this goes to, this is like a little side break. You're watching House Sparks Megaworldwide, by the way. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. We're, lovely Whoopi, Whoopi Goldberg, lovely lady. This is the Ron Paul Liberty Report is like running a fucking make corporatism great again ad.
If you have pink salt, apple cider vinegar, and baking soda in your kitchen, and you're not using this recipe, you're missing out on one of the easiest ways to lose
skip
weight.
ad.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to the weekly report. Making corporatism great again.
Sorry, I gotta say, hold on. I don't know why this is the one. Why wouldn't I be signed in on my fucking channel? Okay, why we need corporatism is the title of this, and then they've got this big kind of like, I don't know, propaganda image with a boat and a strong dude.
Hello, everybody, and
Hi.
Thank you for tuning in to the weekly report. Making corporatism.
I'm one of the Keebler elves, one of the evil ones.
Great again. President Trump has recently endorsed a policy that is arguably as socialist as anything proposed by New York mayoral candidate Zoran Mamdani.
It's like, no, it's not the commitment that really makes me laugh. It's the commitment, or it's the lack of commitment mixed with the mispronunciation. You know what I mean? Like, all right.
Thing proposed by New York mayoral candidate Zoran Mamdani.
Mamdani. After you, Mamdani.
Or Senator Bernie Sanders. Partial government ownership of private corporations. Earlier this year, as a condition of approving Nippon Steel's purchase of U.S. Steel, President Trump demanded Nippon give the U.S. government a golden share in U.S. Steel. This golden share allows the U.S. government to overrule Nippon's management if the government determines Nippon is acting against U.S. national security, which means the government can overrule many decisions made by Nippon's management.
Yeah, it's almost like Trump and J.D. Vance, mainly Peter Thiel via J.D. Vance, and Trump's just along for the ride, are creating a technocracy because that's their plan. And you assholes fell for it because, eek, what if we ever gave children food at school? Yeah, so anyways, Ron Paul is melting.
Unfortunately, Nippon was not a one-and-done excursion into corporatism. President Trump recently struck a deal with computer chip manufacturer Intel to give the company $8.9 billion in government subsidies in exchange for 10% of Intel's stock.
No, the Chips and Science Act gave them a grant that if they become profitable in a certain window, they could pay it back, but they don't have to because it's an investment. We figure it to be worth. It's kind of like when they build a new stadium, you know, you throw that in there. You don't necessarily need it to be paid back because the benefits will be self-evident is the idea. That was within the Chips and Science Act, and Trump decided that he thinks it should be treated like stock so that they can have a controlling interest specifically in the company, which is some Mussolini shit.
This deal makes the U.S. government Intel's largest stockholder.
Wow.
The Trump administration has promised that it will not use its position to undermine Intel's board. However, the administration is reserving the right to counter Intel's board if the administration determines the board is taking an action that would adversely impact the relationship of the company or its subsidiaries with the U.S. government.
Right. Yeah. It's fascism. This what it's fascism. This is just fascism. This is yeah. I don't know what to tell you, dummy. Like, who couldn't see this coming? Asshole. It's just fucking fascism.
So, the Trump administration is yet again giving itself power to manage a nominally private company.
By the way, this is the worst audition tape for a new apartment manager for Three's Company I have ever seen. Like, I was against turning Three's Company into a drama anyways, especially one to run in the afternoon. But, this is even too dry for me.
Enabling the government to control a private company, even if the government does not actually exercise its power, means the company's management will base its decision on what will please those currently in power rather than on the desires of the consumers.
What? No way!
Government investment in corporations will cause politicians to make decisions based on what will profit the companies.
Profit. If that happens, we're all in trouble.
That government has invested in, while those companies' competitors will seek to attract government investment in order to win special privileges for themselves.
Jesus Christ. This, wasn't he supposed to be like the outsider rock star of the Republican Party for a while? This makes NPR look like the Sex Pistols.
A corporation partially owned by government will be considered too big to fail, since its failure would cause the government to lose the money invested in the businesses. So the argument will be that a bailout will save the taxpayers' money.
Well, here we go again.
According to a 2024 analysis by the World Bank.
Oh, we're trusting the World Bank now. I love you. Yeah. What? Oh, sorry, dude. You're quoting the World Bank. That's like fucking when Jimmy Dore goes, "You can't trust the mainstream media." Let me go to this article from CNN.
An organization not known as a supporter of free market economics. Companies of which government owns 10% or more are 6% less profitable and have workforces.
They are 6% less profitable.
That are 32% less productive.
Oh my God. But they got great retirement benefits, I guess. I guess is that the trade-off?
Some members of the Trump administration have suggested that the federal government take a partial ownership interest in defense contractors like Lockheed Martin and Boeing.
What? Don't we kind of already, but just under the table? But all right.
Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick.
It's pronounced Nutlick, but he's old and that happens.
Has pointed out that big defense contractor Lockheed Martin, for example, is basically an arm of the U.S. government.
Basically. I think there's a lot of wiggle room in that basically, right? I think it's that basically that means it's basically not. Okay.
Since almost all...
This is not that long. I got about a minute left of this, sorry.
All its revenue comes from the U.S. government.
Not all of it.
Secretary Lutnick has a point, but the closeness between the Pentagon and big corporations is an argument for restoring a non-interventionist foreign policy.
Oh, because the idea is that if we've got all these arms sitting around, and if we can't use them, well, we got to go, how do we justify all this money being spent if we can't go bomb somebody? I don't know, practice bombing somebody?
Given the government and ownership of interest in defense contractors would allow the war party to argue that militarism is good for the taxpayers.
Sorry, the war party. Oh, you mean Trump? Yeah, I know, CSL. The raw charisma. I can see how he intoxicated a generation.
Because it boosts the value.
Come on, everybody. Audit the Fed. Audit the Fed. Ron Paul revolution.
Of the government's investments. Government investment in private businesses will only worsen the twin plagues of corporatism and cronyism.
The twin plagues of corporatism and cronyism. Wait till he hears about corporate cronyism.
That afflicts our political and economic systems. Instead of further entangling government and business, those seeking to make a...
Scouts, I'm aroused. Look, I'm going to get a strike on this because this is just too sexy.
America great again should work to end the welfare, warfare, regulatory state and the fiat monetary system that makes it possible.
Fiat? All right.
The only path...
Sorry, we're supposed to stop using fiat currency and that's what will stop war? Does this asshole know that we had a lot of wars when people had doubloons? Do you realize that most of the ships that are full of doubloons and treasure were either stolen in war or moving around to pay for war? Like, there were no fiat currencies. It was straight up gold. And wait a minute. Maybe I should just take this asshole down for a ride on the Pirates of the Caribbean ride, and he can see all the skeletons with swords through them and the gold doubloons at their feet, where he's like, I blame paper money. You know what? We wouldn't have all this war if it wasn't for debit cards, said Genghis Khan, who killed 1 million people in a day with blades before the invention of gunpowder.
Path to prosperity is through a true free market, limited government, and a foreign policy of peace and free trade. Thanks for listening.
I had to listen. It's not exactly like it was visually riveting. You can see how, like, Rand Paul, just walked straight in to the Senate with that kind of a lineage. All right, now, we've talked a little bit about this. Oh, shit, man, time flies. Motang Mondays is zipping by today. We have so much to cover, and wow. So, all right, I've been talking a little bit about Lil Kanye, aka Nick Fuentes, Nick Daisy Fuentes, and how his turn from the Republican Party has gotten, like Tucker Carlson's balloon knot in a shrivel. And so this is him waking up to the mass deportations things. Now, I don't know, having not watched this, I don't know if Fuentes, if Daisy has the ability to grasp, but that there aren't another 10 million illegal immigrants in the country that came in during Biden, and certainly not 25 million like Trump. Like it just didn't happen. It fucking didn't. So let's give Daisy a listen and see what maggots are reacting to, and then I'll show you, I think, one of the reactions. Oh, hold on, I gotta play this. This guy. Very fancy. Little graphic.
Our first story.
You can't write off the skill at Fiverr.
All right, we'll talk about the mass deportation sort of while we're on the subject.
When are you not on the subject of mass deportations? Just for the record. Also, maybe don't wear camo-y pullovers because it looks like you're in a ghillie suit in your mom's basement. But
And this is not...
Which is fine.
Anything really all that new. It's just that we finally got the data. And as you know...
Oh, yeah. So just so you know, I think it was Newsweek. Maybe this is what he's referring to. Hold on. Newsweek FOIA deportation data. Because I've seen a few people flip out about this. Probably what it is. ICE data shows steady rise in immigrants self-deporting. Right, because they filled out their own forms. Yeah, here you go. The total knows January to July. Small rising number of selfies. The repeatedly touted high deportation, but the Department of Homeland Security and ICE have not published consistent under Biden. DHS shared monthly updates. More generally, there's this. What do we know about them? ICE removals by country. Hold on, let me show you this. He's going about the worst of the worst bullshit. Okay, so was it Newsweek that did it? Hold on. And numbers released by user under a free. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so this is the FOIA ICE documents that they put out that Newsweek requested, and the numbers just suck. Like they're so low compared to Biden's that it's laughable. And you'll see, like, I'm fairly certain that's where he's going.
This has been a big issue of mine for the past couple of years.
Really? Brown foreign people coming into the country has been a big issue for you? You don't say.
When the Trump campaign promised the mass deportations last year,
I think when the Trump campaign promised fill in the blank, it's all been bullshit.
You got to realize what a tall order that really is. And realistically, this is something that has been talked about for a long time. We have an unbelievable, huge illegal immigrant population.
No, we don't. It's completely believable. It's actually lower than it has been. It's about 10.3 million people. It was 11 for the longest time. It's below that number, largely because of COVID, old age, and other opportunities. Also, the rise in labor and the moving of factories to Mexico is one of the things that kept people over there, and that's why you're not seeing as many Mexicans come across the border as you are, say, Guatemalans or Venezuelans or people from other countries, and why it's a mishmash. So, anyways.
We all recognize that the illegal immigration itself has to stop, and a lot of these people that are already here and have been here have to go.
Right, so just he's one of these guys, when Trump says there'll be an honor system on farms and all this stuff, these guys all just exploded.
Especially in the past 4 years, when we've had...
No, not especially.
This record-breaking, unbelievable amount of illegal immigration.
No, not record-breaking, not unbelievable. Vast majority of people were turned away. Even the number of asylum seekers, while large, was absorbed very well. And there were so many people that either died, left, moved back home because of COVID. They couldn't work in fields or out in, all the jobs that they had that were in hospitality, for example, hotels, restaurants and stuff. All those people basically had to go back home because there were no jobs anywhere, and they couldn't just live here, hoping it passed.
Literally smashing every record on the book by orders of magnitude.
Literally not.
It just has to start going in reverse.
Oh, you mean like Trump said he would do with inflation? Good luck with that, buddy.
That being said, this mass deportation proposal is a huge ordeal. It's huge undertaking.
Huge.
And I don't think people realize that. I realized that. And I knew that last year. Well,
yeah, it seems like it would be a huge undertaking to get, 25 million people out of the country in a couple of months. Like, besides the fact that it would take us, all the commercial flights in the United States, both domestic and international, going like 24/7 to fly those people out in the time scale, just the idea that you're finding them, right? Yeah, so it kind of sounds like a big deal. He looks high as fuck. I think he's sick. Like he's got a little mug, and he was sick in one of these other videos, and I think that's why he normally wears a suit, but he's wearing his camo whoopee.
He said we are going to massively deport all these millions of illegal immigrants. Immediately, this set off the alarm with me, because in order to deport millions of people, you're gonna need tons of money, tons of personnel.
A bill that's passed so that you could fund it. Weird.
And
Lynn says, who's listening to these turds? Everybody. On the right, they were all avoiding him for a long time. And the reason I show you some of these guys, and as they get annoying, is that I want you to know the messaging that is creeping through the right, or that that is either informing them and how they telling them what they want to hear, or what's dismantling on their side. Because again, this is one of the true believers, like the full-on maggots. And he's basically dismantling Trump from his side, which is hilarious. Again, it's not even, we're not to the side of like the enemy of my enemy is my friend. That's not even necessary. But you need to know the weak points that maggots are flipping out about. And this is a great window into it.
maybe more even than the resources. And related to the resource question also, you need political will. Because the bigger problem you're going to run into in this gigantic undertaking, it cannot be done inconspicuously.
Yeah, I know. That's why he's trying to fool you by rounding up fucking Koreans at a battery plant to make it look like he's doing something big, or creating alligator Alcatraz to try and bullshit you into him being tough on this.
To massively deport millions of people from America, you're going to need to enlist tons of manpower.
Mm-hmm. And pay them, in theory. Unless, I mean, I'm sure he knows a bunch of militia dudes who would do it for free.
Tons of money. You're going to need to build structures, enlist judges, lawyers. It cannot be done inconspicuously, discreetly. You cannot do this under the cover of night.
Right. Well, I mean, that's not fair. You can if you want to completely undermine what America is all about, which is what Trump is trying to do. You can't do it and still have America as a functioning country, which is the part where I think that's the blind spot with some of these assholes, is that they think Trump actually likes America and wants America to exist.
This is going to be a Herculean, long-term, intensive effort.
Run completely by assholes.
Now, with that being said, for that to work, a couple of things are going to need to happen.
Yes, one, you're going to need to hit the like on the show right now. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry, you were saying?
Forget about, for a moment, the cash infusion. Forget about how you build the detention facilities.
Obviously, with you have kids who go to Jesus camp make it out of popsicle sticks.
Forget about how you train up the personnel. What is involved in the
training
question of mass deportations is first and foremost a question of follow through.
Oh, okay. Well, then maybe that's why Trump is fucking it up. Because he has none. And if you don't believe me, wait 2 weeks. The easiest 2-week prediction that you can ever do is in 2 weeks, Trump won't have done shit.
When you think about huge projects like World War II, like the New Deal, like major infrastructure projects, building the federal highway system.
Yes, all the stuff Republicans are against.
What is required is a sustained focus from...
Right. They've got plenty of Adderall. They're blazing that shit over there. Doesn't that give you sustained focus? Isn't hyper-focus, though, the opposite of wisdom? And maybe that's part of the problem. But that's a philosophical discussion for another thing. Sometimes I drop gems just for the shit of it.
The top for a long period of time. How do you deport millions of people?
Practice. No.
Well, you're going to need the whole of government to be involved.
Yes, that's the Department of Education. Got to round people up. School buses, when they're not being used.
It's going to need to get bigger. It's going to need to get more focused.
Well, yeah, about that.
It's going to need to build things and hire people, and it's going to need to combat different federal injunctions from judges. It's very complicated. And so what this requires is organization, coordination, focus, perseverance. In a word, political will.
Well, it's not, that's more than political will. That I would argue a plan, an actual coordinated, like responsive plan with real benchmarks and stuff. You know, stuff Trump is afraid to do.
If you're going to massively deport people, this needs to be a central focus.
Yeah. I mean, can't do that though, because then the farmers that, you know, the big agribusiness guys will get mad at Trump, and then who's going to mow his stupid golf courses?
Do you understand?
Yes, we all do, which is why we're actually long-term not concerned about Trump, because he's
Dum, 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 dum.
Uh-huh.
Dum, dum, stupid.
Asshole.
Dumb, silly, stupid, dumb, dumb.
All right.
It's like Obamacare, or it's like the war in Iraq. To move
Yes, I often compare those two.
10 million people out of this country in a short period of time, it's a big deal. That needs to take up all the energies and all the attention of the people in government. So that's actually a big question. Is the Trump administration prepared to do this?
Well, I feel like that's a trick question, because they're not prepared for anything. They don't prepare at all. Like, it's just fucking throw shit against the wall and see what sticks. But somehow, maybe you guys think he's prepared.
Is that a serious proposal?
No, okay, obviously not. It's the Trump administration. It's Trump. It's not serious.
When they say
seriously damaging, but not actually a serious effort.
Mass deportations, are they being flippant? Are they using a figure of speech? When they say mass deportations...
No, that's your love language. They just speak your love language, Nick.
Do they mean they're going to round up millions of people and physically remove them?
You wish.
Or do they mean like a lot of deportations?
I don't think they mean either.
They mean more deportations.
Oh, what does Obamacare have to do with anything? Cat's Jam. I think what he means is that they managed to get it through because it took a lot of work. It's him admitting there was a lot of work that went into the Infrastructure Act, right? Am I volunteering him? Yes, I am.
Then we're getting. Because there's a big difference. There's all the difference in the world. You can reasonably increase deportations with the resources we have. You could get new resources. But to massively deport people is a whole other thing. So what did they mean by that?
I think they meant blow me, and you said yes, sir, because it sounded good at the time, because it's fucking ridiculous, because anybody who looked at the numbers knew that they couldn't do it. Both, they logistically just don't have the fucking brains for anything that big, and there aren't that many illegals in the first place.
When they said mass deportations, did they know what they were talking about?
They didn't have to. All you assholes got half a chub just hearing that phrase.
Do you know what they were talking about? Did they mean that there would be a whole of government approach to move millions of people out of the country? Are they prepared to do that?
By the way, they didn't have to, because these assholes filled in the blanks. All they had to say was mass deportations. It's going to be awesome, and they're going to do this, and they're going to have to, because you assume all the work that has to go into it, so they immediately started fapping at the idea. Not going, how? You can't ask Trump how. So the idea that they have a how is ridiculous, because nobody's even allowed to kick those fucking tires. So this is just hilarious watching them kind of wake up, I guess, to the idea that it was always a fucking game of three-card Monte.
Are they capable of doing that? Do they have the will to be that focused, coordinated, organized, and to carry this out in a sustained way to the exclusion of almost everything else for the entirety of the 4 years?
No, I don't think they have the will to do anything except watch Trump golf the entirety of the 4 years if he makes it.
Another big variable in this equation is that maybe you could argue yes, because Trump has had it. He knows how government works. He's got the right personnel this time. He's got Stephen Miller. He's going to come in focused, and he's just going to do things. And maybe you've taken care of that side of the equation. Maybe you believe that. But then, of course, in politics, there's an action and a reaction.
Well, there's only a reaction if there's an action.
What happens when the administration starts to ramp up? Like I said, they can't do this discreetly. When they start hiring and you see federal officers everywhere and you see people in cages that are being built very quickly to expedite them out of the country, you're going to get a major reaction. And not just from the left. You're going to get a reaction from the Democrats, from the media, from the far left. You're also going to get a reaction from moderate Republicans, from the Joe Rogans. Maybe Stephen Miller's ready for mass deportations. Is Joe Rogan?
Do I think he really gives a shit? I mean, it depends on like how big his joint is today, quite frankly. About that's how you gauge whether he gives a fuck.
Is David Sachs? Is Elon Musk? Our core members of the MAGA coalition from the election, are they prepared for that? The answer I always thought was no. And we saw a preview of this in 2018. Trump started to get the border under control very quickly in his first term. In order to do that, they had to separate the minors from the adults when they detained them. They called it the family separation policy. Unaccompanied minors are a big part of the illegal immigration problem. They started to do this, and they had wall-to-wall coverage 24/7 for months. You remember before?
Yeah, it was unnecessarily cruel and gross, and yeah, Jesus.
For the midterms, the narrative was that Trump was putting children in cages. Kids were being put in cages. It's like the Holocaust.
He was like, I wish.
And the administration backed down under political pressure. So the question is not just, is the Trump administration prepared to do it? Are they prepared to do it against all the inevitable pushback from the media, from your own political faction?
No, fuck that. No, you don't get to blame the media or something like the usual suspects, asshole. It's the fucking big agribusiness and the hoteliers, like the fucking Steve Wynn and all those other people that he's friends with who are like, hey, I gotta have my cleaning staff and all that kind of stuff. Can you guys send your dudes the other direction? Maybe go after some people at a fucking electric car factory or a solar power plant, you know, where they're making solar panels or some shit like that, you know, because you're people like that. But I need them to fucking mow the lawn.
From the Democrats in the midterm election, are you prepared? Because it's one thing to do it by itself, but it's another thing to do it against all the opposition, because that's really what makes it a challenge. The rest is logistics. And I said last year, I think the answer is no. Nothing that you could show me last year proved in any way, shape, or form that this administration would be serious about doing what I just said. They're not organized. They're not intentional.
They're high as fuck.
Not focused.
With all that Adderall.
They're not capable. And what's more, are they ready for the pushback? Absolutely not. What happens when Elon and Joe Rogan join up with the left and suddenly this frat bro uprising, golden age, morning in America, when that crashes on the rocks of reality and we realize people are actually quite liberal still?
Damn it.
Are people going to be able to fight? Are they going to be willing to continue what must be done? And I think, well, it's the must be done part that I'll question, but not whether or not people will rise up or act. It's just that they will actually act against that horseshit. Nobody in this administration is serious about this. They're not serious about what it takes to do it. They're not serious about pushing back against the left. It's not going to happen. I said, rather, what we're getting is this sort of flippant bait. They're saying, yeah, mass deportations. Because they know that those are the magic words that they can use to get the radical right-wing base to turn up in the election and vote. But they're not really serious about following through. Now, since Trump got into office, this has been a matter of much scrutiny. Has there been follow-through? Are they trying? And this has been a matter of a lot of debate. And if you watch the show, you've seen it. You have defenders of the administration on one side that are arguing that, as a matter of fact, the mass deportations are happening. And how do they characterize this? They say, well, they're not where they need to be, but they're ramping up, and the administration is having to fight all these legal battles, and they had to get money through the big, beautiful bill, and there's all these other considerations, but they're coming eventually. It's going to happen one day. They're using other measures. For example, they used a figure from a survey offered by the Census Bureau, a small survey, which they said showed evidence based on some math that they did that 2 million people left America voluntarily. 2 million illegal foreign nationals left the country voluntarily. And here's the issue with this debate about, whether this is happening in what.
Okay, he's kind of slowly ramping up to this because I think he wigs at one point. Let's see where
has been verified as leaving using the enforcement under restrictionists. It's all the way over there. That's not our problem. I care about America. They say the Israelis get their war. They get the West Bank and Gaza. We get our mass deportations. All right.
By the way, apparently that was the trade-off between maggots and neocons, was you guys can bomb Iran and fight in Israel as long as you broom out the brown people. This was apparently the Faustian bargain between MAGA and the Republicans. Cool story, bro, but that's apparently what they think the drawing lines were.
Well, what if they're not holding up their end of the bargain? What if they never intended to hold up their end of the bargain?
Then it's just like the first Trump administration and you should have learned your fucking lesson, but you're too dense.
What if the structure of the deal is all wrong? Because we give them our vote and then they're in the driver's seat. People like us are not in power. They are in power. So you have two parties that come together ostensibly for the execution of a deal.
And by the way, he doesn't mean Democrats and Republicans. He means the maggot / Groyper crowd, his little watered down Nerf neo-Nazis his group and the establishment Republicans.
We agree, okay, you get one thing, I get this thing, but the other party executes the deal. The other party is in charge of how the deal is executed. Now, is that how any deal really works?
No, but it's how three-card Monte works, and you are the idiot for thinking there's a deal being made.
Would you make any deal like that with your...
Here's a good idea, asshole. Elect people that are going to do the stuff you want to do within the realm of what's humanly possible and deal with the reality and the gravity of that circumstance. Don't make a deal that you'll let them do something you can't stand so that they'll do something for you that they can't stand, because once they get in there, the only impetus they will have is to do the thing that they need to do and fuck you. Good God.
Finances, would you make any deal like that with a business partner? Would you enter into a deal with another party, a quid pro quo, and that other party is unilaterally in control of how the deal is carried out and whether they're...
You kind of do it all the time, but sure.
They're going to hold up their end of the bargain? Of course not. Well, what am I talking about here?
I don't know.
If the proposition is the Republican Party is coming to us and saying, all right, everybody, we're going to have to give the Israelis their war, but don't worry, you're going to get immigration. It's a matter of trust that they're going to follow through because the Israelis are running the government.
Okay. All right. Meow. Right. I thought he was just kind of realizing that he let Trump grab him by the pussy, and now he doesn't understand why he's not calling the next day. that he doesn't respect you in the morning. But no, sorry, I forgot. It's always the Jews. Yeah.
We're not running the government. Nativists are not. Who's running even the deportation policy? Stephen Miller.
Oh, right, and he's Jewish. Right, the evil Jew, right.
Stephen Miller is a Zionist Jew.
Right, okay. I don't know why it took me that long to figure it out. I see. Right, that's why it's not working. It's not because Trump's full of shit and his buddies run all these businesses. It's because Stephen Miller is Jewish. Holy shit.
Stephen Miller is a Zionist Jew cheerleading the war in Iran. He was married to his Jewish wife by Trump's ambassador to Israel. We have no control. We are not in the driver's seat.
Yeah, he had Stephen Miller in his cabinet the first time, and his daughter was married to Jared Kushner before them. You didn't see the whole Jew thing coming, I guess. That's what shocks me. If I would just, okay, what I'm thinking is, and you'll have to forgive me because I don't feel this way when I see any group coming unless it's because of the symbols that they're wearing. But if somebody's walking down the street with a swastika on their arm, I'm going to probably, unless it's Halloween at a really fucked up party, I'm going to assume I'm going to assume ill. But if you automatically go, oy, the Jews. Ugh, the Jews are gonna, they're gonna Jew. What am I gonna do with the Jews are gonna Jew me? The Jewing is going to happen, the great Jewing. If that's what you worry about all the time, then how does the whole Trump, Netanyahu, Jared and Ivanka conversion, the Stephen Miller thing, how's that get past you? Right? Is it just me? Chat room, I just gotta say, like, if you're that much of a bigot, how do you let some of this shit slide? Right? How do you get sideswiped by something so fucking obvious? Yes, satire warning, very important. Yeah. Blazing Saddles. Oh, they're blacker than us, right? Lube, yeah, that's probably it. Desolate Misanthrope, yeah, probably. Yeah, Laura Loomer, same way, yeah. Fiduciary booty, it's gross. It's a mystery, right? How did I see this coming? Even though Stephen Miller was like, everybody was like, he's going to get a bigger position in the White House once he gets in. All right. But I did not know that he was a Zionist Jew. I just thought he was a Nosferatu.
Who's being appointed? Darren Beatty, Mike Benz, Yoram Hazony's people. These are all Jews.
I see. And Trump is telling them what to do. So maybe it's rich second generation New Yorkers.
Tucker Carlson had on a guest who was fired from the State Department because Mark Levin's son-in-law, nephew-in-law complained.
But isn't that what Mark Levin's entire family does? I mean, that's the brand.
So we think
Nosferatu. I don't think that's a thing.
We're making this deal. We're trusting them to execute the deal out of good faith on our behalf and hold up their end of the bargain. Why would they do that?
They wouldn't.
We vote for them. They get all the power. They do the things that they want, and the things that we want are a complete afterthought.
Really? Because the guy I voted for last time, he got me an infrastructure bill. He he busted his ass trying to forgive student loans. He did the first project to remove lead pipes from the American water system since the American water system was put in. He did the Chips and Science Act to rebuild innovation centers and make sure that we had chips for all of our electronic devices made here in the United States. I don't know, but I I didn't have that much to bitch about. I think he was dealing with the gravity and the reality of a post-COVID economy, which I didn't blame on him. But all of a sudden, you know, like when a Democrat's in office, the economy is all their fucking fault, even if it comes after a pandemic. But when Trump gets in, it's the last Democrat's fault. Ever notice that? Maybe it isn't about racial dynamics. Maybe it isn't about the Jews controlling the world. Maybe it's because you're a gullible fuck who bought Donald Trump's garbage hook, line, and sinker, and you'd rather like drown yourself in racism than recognize your own like intellectual, moral, psychological, and philosophical gaps, the gaping holes in your fucking prefrontal cortex.
Obviously.
They're
going to do the things they want, and if we're lucky, maybe they'll do the things that they promised that they would do for us. But they don't really care that much. That's the problem. Now, the reason...
No. It's not the problem. It's your problem. Honest to God, with the limitations that Biden was going through, that fucker killed it. Even when he lost the House and didn't have control of the House and the Senate, he still got an infrastructure bill passed, which just goes to show you that Trump could have gotten the same bill passed when he had Democrats in there, but he didn't give a fuck. He didn't want to. And there's a difference between trying really hard and failing and somebody never wanting to do it in the first place and making you look like an asshole. And if you can't tell the difference to the point where it's like, it's just the government, man. It's the deep state. No, it isn't. No. There's people that get up every fucking day in business and government and in their own family lives and try to make the world better every goddamn day. And there are people who run against them, trying to make it harder unnecessarily. And Trump is one of those people. He's just trying to fuck shit up.
I'm saying this thing about mass deportations. Let's just be honest. It isn't happening. It's been 7 months.
Aww.
And there has been no significant deportations. And before people say, well, you know, we got to pressure the administration to get these numbers higher. You know, look, like on some level, I'm not opposed to that. People say we got to pressure the administration. If it's not happening by now, it ain't going to happen. We got to put the pressure on. First of all, what does that mean? You're going to get on social media and say what? Dude, they run social media. Elon Musk owns Twitter. The Trump administration's facilitating the purchase of TikTok. And all the influencers on our side are paid off by the GOP. You are not pressuring shit. Okay? You're not pressuring anything. Pressure. You think you can generate pressure? Vance's best friend owns the fucking platform. All the top influencers are paid by the GOP. Who do you think you're pressuring exactly?
I know.
So that's one. When people say that, what do they mean? You're going to go online with your 300 follower account and complain?
Right.
And who's going to listen?
I know.
All these people in government, they know what they promised. They know what they said.
Sad.
You think they're going to look at this 300 follower account and say, oh boy, well, this guy's not happy. I guess we have to move all of government to deport millions of people because it doesn't work that way. I'm not opposed to it, but think about the calculus here. Let's think about a couple of things. First, let's think about the economy.
Right.
We're entering stagflation. Right. What does that mean?
What does it mean?
Interest rates are already high. But inflation is high.
Oh, it's high.
Inflation is stubborn. Looks like it's might be creeping back up.
Oh, no.
If you lower interest rates, there's a chance that inflation might go up more. You already have tariffs in place. Arguably, in the short term, tariffs have an inflationary effect.
And you were supposed to
in
be
the
winning.
short term, these tariffs will increase prices.
Yeah.
So you have stubbornly high inflation because of COVID, quantitative easing, supply chains, tariffs.
So bad.
It's stubborn.
It is.
At the same time, the job market is very slow right now. There's some red flags in the economy. That's why Trump wants to lower the rates. He wants to grease up the economy. He wants the stock market to go up. He wants hiring to improve.
Too bad.
So we're already in this very tricky situation where we have to choose between high inflation or slow growth.
Right.
You either lower interest rates and you get high inflation and maybe you kickstart growth.
Right.
Or you keep interest rates high and inflation stays down, but growth is slow and you're sort of effectively in a recession. What happens when you massively deport illegal immigrants? Well, look, a lot of them have jobs.
Right.
And that means a couple of things. That means they work for low wages.
Right.
The other thing means they spend money here.
They do, and that money,
So
where's
what
that?
happens when you deport illegal immigrants? Well, wages are going to have to go up because the labor pool shrinks.
right.
Labor cost goes up. Prices have to go up. That's
They do.
inflation.
Right.
And consumer spending goes down.
I
These
know.
illegal immigrants, they do spend money here.
I know.
So that slows growth.
Yeah.
So deporting illegal immigrants is not something the administration wants to do right now.
Right.
And if you don't believe me, just ask the administration. What did Trump say when he passed the Big Beautiful Bill?
Right.
The Big Beautiful Bill was supposed to remedy all these resource problems that were hindering mass deportations. They appropriated $150 billion to hire the ICE agents, build the facilities, get it going. And what did Trump say the day the bill was passed?
I don't know.
He said, we will not deport illegal immigrants working on farms, in hotels, in restaurants, in construction.
That's so sad.
He said, and the radical right won't like that, but they'll understand. He said, we need the people. We need these people to stay here.
We need the people,
What does he mean
right.
we need the people?
What does he
we
mean?
have people here. It's not that we need the people, it's that we need the people to stay here working at the wages they're working at because we don't want to upset the apple cart.
I see, because apples, they
So
pick
for
apples.
economic reasons, that's why the deportations are going down. The Big Beautiful Bill passed in what, May? June?
May, June,
Deportations
July
went
even.
down.
They did.
Think about it.
I am.
We appropriated $150 billion to get deportations up.
Right, and
Trump deployed the National Guard to LA to suppress the anti-deportation riots. And after both of these things, deportations are down.
Oh, no.
20%. They're down month over month. And they told us why.
Why?
It's because even though the base wants it, even though the administration promised it,
To
it's
assholes.
just not going to work for the economy. So the
Right.
economic constraints are
Right.
there. Then there's
Because
the
maggots
political constraints.
Want cheap shit at Cracker Barrel.
When those riots were happening in LA, you know who spoke up against the deportations? It wasn't just leftists.
No.
It was also Joe Rogan.
Oh,
It was
Rogan.
also Elon Musk.
Yeah, I
They
blame
said,
him.
We're okay with deporting criminals. I don't know about everybody else, though.
Oh, you don't know about everybody else.
And they signaled that a year ago. Joe Rogan is not a far-right ethno-nationalist.
Not yet. He should be.
Neither
but
is
he's
the
not.
All In
Why not?
podcast or David Sachs, or for that matter, anyone in Silicon Valley.
Right. None of them. Most of them are.
Now, what
foreign-born,
happens in the midterm elections
so you lose
when you, let's say next year in 2026, because
Next year,
people think the
2026.
numbers
Oh, I
are
thought
low now. Okay, what if they get jacked up? What if the numbers are doubled?
Uh-huh.
Well, you're getting killed with Hispanic voters.
Oh, terrible.
You're
Well,
going to have
if they're
people
here,
like Joe
you gotta
Rogan
get
in
rid of 'em.
Silicon Valley. They'll be speaking out against it.
Joe Rogan
So
lives
how's
in
that going to
Texas.
help? And
Probably
maybe the
won't.
money dries up for the Republicans in the
Oh, no.
midterms too, because now Silicon Valley is such a
Don't
big
threaten me with a
patron of the
good
GOP. And that's not to mention what is going to be the political effect of wall-to-wall coverage of Gestapo ICE raids and riots and Antifa
Yeah, it gives
terrorism
you a
trying to
boner,
stop
but
them.
people aren't gonna like that.
It's not going to happen politically either. So it is September 2025.
Yes, it is.
The midterms realistically start in the spring of next year. So you got about 8 months before this becomes reality. The economic constraints are already there.
Brutal.
And then from then until election day,
Right.
you can't do mass deportations.
No, you can't do it then. You
What
gotta do it
happens
now.
in 2027? Well, the race for 2028 begins.
Right,
Of
then
course.
JD Vance is
2028, you're going to have a wide open Republican and Democrat field, just like in 2016.
Yeah, wow.
And these primaries, they tend to start in 2020. The Democrat primary started in January 2019, 2 months after the midterms. In 2016, the GOP primary started in April 2015.
I know.
5 months after the midterms.
Fascinating.
So the midterms are going to be most of next year. And then within maybe 6 months of the midterms, the 2028 election begins. And it's the same logic.
That's terrible.
The same economic logic, the same political logic.
Yeah, right. It's almost like you're saying...
Some people are out there saying...
And by the way, forgive me for a second, but it seems like what he's saying is like everything everybody already knows, but with a little sprinkling of racism, like seasoned to taste with racism, like this. And by the way, this is the single most powerful voice on the right now. Just so you know, I just want you to know this. This guy, single most powerful on the right by far. And the weird part is that if he could curtail his blaming the Jews and talking about like black people's brain size and all the kind of racist shit that he's dabbled in or deeply believes. I don't know what the depth of his beliefs are because I don't watch enough of his stuff to see it, but I've seen the highlights. That if he could keep that on the down low, he could David Duke his way into a bigger PowerPoint, and that's what his goal is. Yes, for real. Chat room, he's one of those guys where, and I'll see if I can show you something else, why that is. And by the way, he doesn't even have to dial it back that much. Let's see, there's a dude who, yeah, I'll have to search for him. There are guys who post his clips. And let's see if I can find the names of his stuff. Like who posts this? The Hodge twins do videos. Oh yeah, here it is. OHGI. This guy.
The coast of Venezuela.
All right, so I just want you to notice something real quick about this. Okay, this is just like him flipping out about
that you're an enemy of the government. And that's literally what Trump said this week. So we'll talk all about that. We're also going to talk tonight about the military strike off the coast of Venezuela. The president of No New Wars is at it again.
Okay, so again, a lot of what he's saying, but for all the abject racist shit that, again, is sprinkled on everything, you know, like he's trying to Nashville hot everything. You know, far too much for even your run-of-the-mill Republican racists. Without that, he would have a much bigger control point. But may I show you something? Even with all that stuff, even with all of the stuff he said on Candace Owens' podcast and all this stuff, yes, Jimmy Dore loves him. And what he wants, you know, at one point he wanted to be the kind of like hack, open mic Alex Jones. That would be Jimmy Dore. He's the hack open mic Alex Jones. He's now trying to be the hack open mic Nick Fuentes. I'm not kidding. This guy right here, this is a network. He's got about 35,000 subscribers. I think more than Jim Brewer, or close to it, the same as Jim Brewer's channel. OHGI is what this guy calls it. A black dude who just does videos, and it's basically conservative-leaning Christian stuff. And there's a lot of Christian overlap in these like right-wing Christian nationalist crowd that try to excuse his failings as well. We're all human and we all sin. And this guy does his posts. He's been kicked off of Twitter or off of YouTube. So this guy posts clips of him and calls himself the black guy in the corner. I think it's even at the beginning of the video. There's like a little thing. Yeah, there you go. The black guy in the corner. Like that's his beat. Is he just kind of plays videos, and it's not like he talks over them like I do or makes reference and fun of them. He literally just delivers them to an audience for Nick Fuentes and is barely on screen at all because Nick can't be on YouTube. So there's a bunch of these guys who are playing these clips online to help him build his audience. See, you have to understand, like, this is a growing, fucked up wing. But I will say that there is there's a video of him attacking Matt Walsh, the what is a woman guy. Here, I'll show you. Like, these are the clips that are coming up. Look at him going after Peanut Butter Dickhead. Grifter? Nick Fuentes and Candace Owens on there, the most evil man in America. And apparently he's of the belief that Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens, whose husband isn't even an American, right? That's one of his big things, set him up by literally having this interview so that they could cut it apart and fuck with him or whatever. Then Trump Gaza the takeover, about Israel's plan to take over Gaza, right? That thing. He did a video called Dear Black People, which is kind of like that letter to white people idea. And there's a ton of black channels that are doing reaction videos to it. And he's getting more nods than head shakes. I'm just telling you. This is Nick Fuentes versus everyone. And in this one, by the way, Nick Fuentes versus everyone, this is crucial for you guys to know in MAGA world. If you want to watch how shit is dismantling and the Thomas Massey crowd versus the Trump crowd, this is another version of that. Because versus everyone means Nick Fuentes against Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, Milo Yiannopoulos, and Elon Musk. Largely because foreign and gay. This seems to be his big dig at them. But that's the route by which he can criticize them. There's another Dear Black People reaction video. He calls himself the real NIGGA in a bunch of videos, and there are black online people who are reacting to his shit. Peanut Butter Dickhead won't have him on, but Adam will push his shit, which is really curious. So they'll have him on without having him on. This is the potential Vance versus Newsom presidential race. No difference, just for the record. What do you think that's going to do to diminish which side's votes? Do you think it's going to drive down the votes on the Democrat side or drive down the votes on the Republican side when it comes to 2028? And this dude's only gig, this is his goal is to get 1 million disenfranchised white young men to hold their vote and demand something, kind of like TYT, has been trying to undermine the Republican or the Democratic establishment. He wants to do the same thing. And by the way, it'll have the same impact. It will hand over power to the other party. Nick Fuentes unleashes on black people and conservatives can't handle it. And conservatives can't handle it? I don't know if I think the conservatives liked it. Fuentes going after Tucker Carlson, and Tucker Carlson has gone after him. It's a shit ton of this stuff. But look how many of these, these guys have reacted to a bunch of his stuff. And again, you guys don't need to watch this side of MAGA TYT. It's exactly what it is. They will slice off a bunch of votes between now and the midterms. He will do it, and not because he'll the racists will take their football and go home, and a bunch of them are going to because Trump's not on the ballot in the midterms. That will slice it off. But there's a huge chunk of the right-wing establishment and the maggot crowd that are going to bow out because of it. Because he's almost single-handedly undoing the Brexit. Or the Blexit, sorry. The black exit from the Democrats. Remember that shit? Where you're like, you guys need to move over to Republicans and trust Trump, and Trump's your guy, and all that kind of shit, right? And there was a big push, and that had a significant impact on the black male vote in the United States. It meant a shift in the electorate in certain key states. Whether you believe Trump won legit or not, what got him within swinging distance was literally that shift in the black male vote, right? And that's where it came from. It's this whole, this concerted effort by Republicans and by specific conservatives to move them away from the Democratic Party and shame them away from the Democratic Party. And now they are discovering that Trump is, as full of shit as they were told the Democrats are and then some. And will they go back to voting Democrat? Probably not. Will they continue to vote Republican? I seriously doubt it. John Diff says, I thought that was Putin. You're not off. That was definitely part of the push. But the people that actively bought it and engaged in it and were, fomenting it because whenever you set one of those things up, you have to, what you do is you grab people who legit believe that shit and then you artificially inflate them, right? You give them money or fake supporters, or you get them into audience capture by making sure that their super chats only come when they say certain things, and then people will start Jimmy Dore is one of the best examples of that, and so is TYT. They basically just chase whatever dollar. If they're repeating something, it's because the eyeballs and the audience have dictated it, not because it's right. And that's how you end up running in a populist run on common misconceptions instead of common sense. Yeah, 20% of black men voted for Trump, 8% of black women. That was half of 10% of those black men. That was enough to shift the vote in some key areas. But they're not going to go back to voting Democrat, those guys. But they aren't going to more than likely vote for Trump, and a lot of it is because of Nick Fuentes. The irony, the fucking irony of a dude who literally thinks that black men are genetically predisposed to crime, are intellectually inferior in a permanent sense. All that. That's Nick Fuentes' beliefs. For real. The irony that he will be the guy that, on the one hand, talked black men into voting for Trump and now will talk them out of it is a powerful fucking political irony. And looking at the online impact of these things, that's the Hodge twins, going doing his video. Look at this. Nick Fuentes sends a warning to young Gen Z voters about the Republican Party. Don't vote. This is the back and forth attack of him by Tucker Carlson. Meanwhile, Jesus fucking Christ. This is why, by the way, and I'll finish on this. This is why I'm so serious about ending the backbiting as Democrats, because the Republicans are going to be full on backbiting, and the response to it will be party unity and philosophical unity, trying to get power back to the Democratic Party and people who believe in the principles of the Democratic Party, whether they're independents or people who've leaned away from Republicans or whatever it is, to the point where we're moving in the direction of the good ideas that care for the most people, that guarantee people, a public education, clean water, clean air, vocational training for the shifting job market, a welfare safety net that supports people but doesn't drag them down. All those kind of things that are kind of we take for granted in the Democratic Party. We need to focus on getting those things done. Right? So it is very crucial that leave the backbiting to them. Let them attack each other. And I am, whoever's running in a Democratic race, if they can win, I'm for it at this point. I don't have to be all in a purity contest on anybody, because I know in general, because they're Democrats, they will be for the majority of good things that help people, and not this absolute white ethno-state, Christian dominionism, pro-Putin, violent bullshit. Right? The difference has never been more stark. And if they're going to do that, we don't have to buy into any of that shit. Just spend all your time pushing that along. Let it happen. Because they deserve it. They set themselves up for this shit. They got suckered into it, and it's our job to make sure they never fucking forget it. They were had. and like if their shame is not going to make them, address, that if they envision themselves as Christians, but are actively trying to undermine the poor and the afflicted in any sense, then just stop calling yourself a Christian, stop lying, and just be the fucking atheistic technocrat that you really are. Just be a Darwinist and shut the fuck up, but don't sell something you don't believe and then act disappointed when it doesn't come to fruition because you elect people who don't believe it either. Donald Trump's never read the fucking Bible. He couldn't quote one Bible. The motherfucker doesn't know Jesus wept. Like, he couldn't quote, he sure as shit couldn't quote John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, for whosoever believeth in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. Like, I can do that because I went to church camp 3 years in a fucking row and read the Bible twice when I was a kid. Like, and Trump, like, it's his favorite fucking book, and he can't decide because all of he loves all of the verses equally. Shut the fuck up, you guys. It's fucking pathetic. If he's going to be the no bullshit, says it like it is, tough guy, alpha male, then tell him to stop fucking bullshitting about reading the Bible, because he never has. And again, knock off all this Ten Commandments horse shit, because 5 of them are nullified in the First Amendment. And Trump is the coveting president. He is the president of coveting. That is his defining characteristic, is coveting. And unless you have some kind of evidence that those 11 people in that boat were actual cartel members and you can prove it, looks like murder to me. So thou shalt not kill is out the fucking window, even if you believe in self-defense or choosing a side in a war. Goofy motherfuckers. But it's, I have to say, there's a little bit of perverse joy in watching these assholes wake up to having been suckered. Not because I think they're going to, come around. It's because they're going to go away. Like I said, I don't need them to see the light. I just need them to see the lie. They do not have to recognize that they, how wrong they have been. They just have to see how much he's lying to them and call it quits. I want everybody to vote. I really do. I want everybody engaged, because once people stop voting, they start engaging in other shit, violence usually, or subterfuge. It's terrible. But in an emergency, if they just stay home and stick their thumb up their ass, I'll take that as a W. So there. And we can all talk about Jesus at some point, the politician, because you cannot compare an extratemporal God who is the son of a deity that controls all reality to an earthbound politician or an earthbound political system. Not capitalism, not socialism, not freedom, not slavery, not anything, because they're beyond life itself. If anything, the only thing you can come away with from reading the Bible and knowing what God or Jesus said allegedly in that book is that this place is a simulation and the only real life is outside of it. And there may be some sort of reward or punishment once you leave this simulation and enter into the real world where your heavenly Father is, right? That's the story. That's what it says. Get out of the matrix and go there. That's what that means. But what you do while you're here chooses where you go next, right? According to what they believe. That's right. John Fugelsang's book is out on Wednesday. Mine's going to be arriving on Wednesday, I think. I think they mailed them out, so they start showing up. And I ordered my hard copy a long time ago. I pre-ordered it. So the Matrix is a dumbed down version of it, but the idea is that if there is everlasting life outside of this, then material mortal life is not real, and therefore the reason God allows suffering is because of the lessons learned and the fact that ultimately your soul is not harmed by what happens to you physically on this plane. So that's why God can allow cruelty and death and starvation and all these other things, because your soul learns a lesson and maybe it comes back or maybe it moves on, or maybe you're tested by what you learn here. But that's why you can have crime and death and then horror here, because this isn't real. But it does matter in how you're judged. That's the theory around it. We'll talk more about that on Sunday when I start my when I become the next Reverend Gene Scott after Trump shuffles off this immortal coil. What would Joe Pesci do? He'd probably kick you into a shallow grave and throw dirt in your face. You know, I'm fair. You know, it's a good question. It's hard for you know, people to think that. Hold on, yeah.
I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown. I amuse you. I make you laugh. What do you mean funny? Funny how? How am I funny?
But anyways, you guys, I love you. I will see you tomorrow. Take care of yourselves and take care of somebody else. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. And don't be afraid of these motherfuckers. Richard is in for a rude awakening tonight. What is that? I don't. What was that? What did I miss? Yeah, 0-day live stream thing. I don't know what that is, CSL. I don't get the reference because it might be something else I said. Yeah. Because I'll be right here waiting. Is that what your point? All right, I gotta go. I got shit to do. I've been working on stuff. If you only knew the amount of shit that I have to get done, it's crazy. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hit that like, everybody. Share the show. Thank you. Share the clips as well. Substack. Subscribe to the Substack. And if you feel like it, use Venmo. Buy me a cup of coffee. And thanks to everybody who sent the cards on there. Oh my God, it's amazing.
I got news for you, pal. You ain't leading but two things right now. Jack and shit. Jack left town.
You using the whole fist, Doc?
See this? This is my boomstick!
Portos, motorheads, geeks, sluts, bloods, wastoids, dweebies, dickheads. They all adore him. They think he's a righteous dude.
press conference going to be?
Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room.
I am your father, Luke. Give in to the dark side of the force, you now.
Like the guy said, you're gonna eat lightning and you're gonna drop thunder. I'm just a happy camper.
Hail to the king,